In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to hit a really nice wedge shot 50 yards away from the green. We're in the scoring zone, and this drill, this understanding, is almost as if you were trying to draw a driver, but we're going to put it onto your wedge. It's going to give you better feel, strike, spin, but it's also going to give you a really consistent shot trajectory. And what I often try and say to the people that I coach is try and hit it through a window, but then try and make sure you hit it through the same window every single time. So that means then you've got a really good understanding of your trajectory, your technique, and your ball striking. A lot of golfers that I see will hit one shot that goes super high, and in this instance hitting into the wind, the ball doesn't quite reach its desired target, or then you try and hit the ball a little bit flatter and we get a little bit like that, so where we go in front of the golf ball and we catch it thin. And in this instance, absolutely do not get away with that because it's gone over the back of the green. So we need to get a consistency in technique so we can understand how the ball is going to react off this club face. Now, I mentioned there we're going to draw the wedges, okay? Because again, I speak to a lot of my students and they try and go kind of dead arm or no wrists. And I do that because it's not really a thing. You have to release the golf club through the ball. If you try not to release it and your body's working on an arc, but your club face is not following that arc, will come in with a lot more loft. And that's where you get this kind of high shot. Often golfers then put the ball further back in the stance to hit the ball low. They keep the hands forward and they have a lot of shaft lean, and they try and go dead arm where they don't move the wrist at all, and they just hit down and de-loft the club face, and the ball doesn't quite come out exactly as they expected. So what we're going to be able to do here, we're going to be able to change ball position but maintain a technique. Consistent techniques is key. So how I want you to address this, if we're going to go for what I'd call the standard pitch shot, okay, so we're not trying to add more loft and we're not trying to decrease the loft, we're just trying to hit a consistent window, a consistent flight pattern. In my technique, I'm going to put the ball position in the middle of my stance. I'm going to put the feet either side of the golf ball, but keeping it quite narrow, nothing too wide, and I certainly don't want my feet close together. I want to try and get, as a general rule of thumb, 3 club head widths will go from right foot to left foot. That's a general kind of guideline for your width of stance. Your ball position, sorry, your weight distribution doesn't need to be so much on your left side. Just keep it 60-40 maximum, just a little bit of extra pressure in this left side because you still want to be able to rotate. Often, and when you're closer to the green, you don't have much rotation, so you really load into that left side. The problem with loading into the left side from here with a longer golf swing is that if we get too far ahead of the golf ball and we hit the top of it, we can get that squirty one that runs across the green. So talking a little bit more about technique and how that golf club's got to travel to the ball, I want to see toe up, hit, which if I lift the golf club in the air is also toe up, and swing through, and you can see there the toe of the club is up. I can hit shots like this all day long and we're going to get a consistent flight pattern and strike. Then I've got to try and work out my length of swing. Then I work out what ball position I want. I put it further back, I might get slightly flatter in the launch angle, put it further forward, and the launch angle will be a bit higher, and therefore it won't travel as far and it'll stop a little bit faster. That demonstration there was with the ball position in the center of my stance. As I said, if I put the ball position further forward in my stance, or just to put it on the inside of my big toe, I go for that same technique where I get the toe up, I let the arms work down in front of my chest, and I turn, and I let the golf club work back through here so that toe of the club is up. I would expect to now see a higher ball flight, like so. I almost got a little bit of draw in the air as well. Oh, the stop on that was sensational. So now, next time, I'll put the ball position on the inside, about a ball's width on the inside of my right foot, okay? I'm gonna go with the exact same technique, toe the club up, work the arms down in front of my chest. I'm going to keep my hands in front of my chest. As I turn, I'm going to release the club up into that position as well. So same again, same technique. And I got that really low penetrating flight. pulled it a little bit, really hard first bounce, and then I got a little bit of zip. So it was one of those shots where, perfect for this shot actually, where I'm hitting into the wind. I want that initial launch angle to be low so the wind doesn't affect it too much. Nice strong skip, and then a little bit of check. So there's 3 shots you can hit there without trying to worry about getting ahead of it to hit down, or leaning back to hit it up in the air, or not using my wrist or using my wrist a little bit more. I've used the exact same technique. I've encouraged the golf clubs, the delivery position to be the same every time. Toe up, hit down, toe up. And I've changed my ball position relative to each shot, and you've seen perfectly, I think, hopefully, the 3 different trajectories that I can create by just adapting my ball position, but with a good technique. Now, when you play these different courses, like I said, for this shot now, I'm straight into wind. I wouldn't be putting the ball position further forward in my stance. I would be putting it middle or back. That back one worked really nicely. Came out super flat, huge first bounce. Then it was just loaded with check on the second and third bounces. The middle one was like, as you'd expect, your kind of standard one. Landed and just stopped pretty much dead because it's got enough spin on it into wind that it won't release far forward at all. So then it comes down to distance control. You can start working on waist height, ribs height, shoulder height, and you get 3 different distances with one club. You've got 2 or 3, 4 wedges even, then suddenly you multiply that by how many wedges you've got, and you've got more distances. Sometimes for some players it can overcomplicate it. For a lot of players, I think it can really just give you some baselines to work from to help your distance control when you've got one set, comfortable, easy technique to follow. Guys, I hope the video's helped. If it has, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. We're here to talk about the pulling of your wedges, because it's something that plagues me a little bit as well, and for different reasons we can pull the ball to the left of target, and it's very simple to do so because with a golf club, this type of golf club, it's very easy to manipulate. Easy to manipulate the impact position as opposed to how we would manipulate. That's gone straight at the flag. That was meant to pull. Easier than it would be to maybe manipulate a driver, for example. So why we often hit pulls with wedges is, if you think about it first, let's always think about it from the most simplistic term. Why did my golf ball start left of target? Right, well, it wasn't where your feet were pointing, maybe. It wasn't really where your chest was pointing. It was where the club face at impact was pointing. You honestly could have your feet over to the left there, and if this club face pointed at the target like that, it will go there, okay?